The Mobile Workforce Podcast. Industry insights, construction perspective.
Hello and welcome back to the Mobile Workforce Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Merrill. Today, we sit down with Mr. John Corcoran. John is a special liaison to the CPA community for Foundation Software. John focuses his resources and his talents and networking abilities in helping connect contractors to members of the CPA organization, which is the Construction Industry CPAs and Consultants, as well as CFMA, Construction Financial Management Association. John plays a special role in helping connect contractors with CPA resources to help progress their business goals and needs. Give this one a listen. I'm sure you'll find some tips and tactics that'll help you to progress in your business goals. Well, welcome on the podcast, John. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for the invitation.
You bet. It's about time we did this.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time.
Yeah, I'd say
that's some history.
Yeah, probably going on, I think probably 2 decades since I remember first meeting you at a CFMA conference.
That's probably true.
Well, so everybody around here and throughout the industry recognizes you and has seen you around the circuit, if you will. Why don't you share with our listeners what it is you've been running around doing for all these years?
Well, Mike, I've spent the last 5 years with Foundation, and my title is the CPA Liaison, along with Chris Masteller, who also, we share the title, although she's had it for 21 years, and I've only had it for 5. Prior to that, I spent roughly 25 years as the executive director of an organization called, it goes by the acronym CPA, Construction Industry CPA Consultants Association. That was an association that I joined when they had 4 members.
Oh, wow.
And they were just starting. When I left, we had about 75 members. And when I say members, it's for CPA firms who have an ability, a reputation in the construction industry. And they only allow 1 in each geographical territory. That's why there's only 75. If we let everybody in who wanted to be in, we'd have 200, 250 members easily. And they represent CPAC, and I keep saying they or we because I was married to it for 25 years. They represent roughly 13,000 contractors across the United States. Their tagline is CPAs who know construction, and they do know construction. I retired 12/31/18 from that job, and Kathleen Baldwin was my successor. We were fortunate to get her after an extensive search. It happened to be she was a member. And didn't want to be the auditor anymore, and she wanted to do something different. She put her hat in the ring, and she was one of the 5 finalists for the interview, and she got the job, and she's doing a great job, and they're still a very strong organization. And then I was approached by Foundation to come to work with them after I retired because of who I know and who knows me, not because of what I know. I'm not a technical person, but it's been a good relationship.
Yeah, I know they are all fond of you, and everybody loves John.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the word love because yesterday our keynote speaker here was a friend of mine, Anaban Basu, that a lot of the people out there have heard. And when he was getting ready to leave, I went up to say goodbye to him and tell him I'd see him next month in Dallas at the CFMA conference. And my daughter, she accompanied me here along with my wife, she was standing next to me, and Anaban says, "John, I love you." And my daughter says, "I love him too." And he looked at her and he says, "You have to. I don't, but I still love him." And that made me feel so good.
Oh, Matt. Yeah, he's a great... In fact, we had Anaban on the podcast also, and we have had him over the years before because, again, just like yourself, boy, he knows what's up when it comes to construction and the economy and what's going on out there.
And like me, he's a real big sports fan.
He sure
big
is.
Sports fan.
Every presentation I've ever seen him do, he's talking about Tony Mandrich, the Packers, or the NFL draft, or all kinds of
things.
His
beloved Ravens or Orioles.
Baltimore.
Right.
He knows all about Baltimore. So we're talking here about CPAs and construction. Why is it so critical that these construction companies partner with a CPA that knows our industry?
Well, Mike, the main user of construction financial statements is the surety company.
Yeah.
And without a surety relationship, a lot of these contractors would not be doing work right now. And that's why it's so important that you have a CPA firm that knows what they're doing when it comes to GAAP and other pronouncements that come out of the AICPA or FASB or whoever. Because if you can't get a bond, you're out of work.
Yeah.
And the surety companies, I think the surety companies, a lot of them know construction financial statements better than the CPA preparer.
Yeah.
Even though they're competent CPAs. And they can spot something immediately that's wrong. So that's why you want to have a CPA that really knows the industry. And there's questions you can ask them. Do they belong to CFMA? Do they belong to the AGC or the ABC? Do they attend professional conferences that are construction related, whether it be CFMA or AGC or even some of these users conferences?
Yeah.
We've had a track here specifically for business development that wasn't related at all to any of the products that Foundation sells.
Purely educational.
Purely educational, and they got CPE. And like I said, it's important that they know what they're doing. And one benchmark of that would be ask them how active are they in these industries? I mean, do you just pay your dues and never go anywhere? That doesn't work. CFMA also has a designation, Certified Construction Industry Financial Professional. It's a long title that's CCIFP. You might want to ask your CPA firm, do you have anyone on their staff that is a CCIFP or anyone who is chasing it, trying to get certified?
Sure.
And the surety companies recognize that. In fact, some surety applications ask if you have a CCIFP on staff as your controller or CFO. So, you don't want to just go through the yellow pages and pick out a CPA. It doesn't work. One way to find one, Foundation has a directory on their website for CPAs, and they have a list of CPAs in every state in the United States. Of course, the states are in the United States. That's redundant.
Yeah.
But those people have proved that they are quality. And then there's other organizations like SICPAC that I mentioned. They're a good source for a CPA firm, and they have members in just about every state in the union. BDO has an alliance of CPA firms that are very competent. A lot of these CPA firms, larger firms, belong to a professional organization like Leading Edge or Accountant Global Network that have special interest groups related to construction. If they're a member of that association, see if they're in that special group. Question them. Ask them questions. Have your CFO meet with them. I mean, just don't make it a relationship on because you belong to the same country club or what have you. You need to have
or your buddy down the street uses somebody.
Right. Well, your buddy down the street could be a good referral. I mean, if he feels good about it, that's a good referral. But make sure they have the competency.
Yeah, sometimes, again, like you said earlier, it's interesting. It's not always what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly. And, I have a very good friend, Tony Stagliano.
I know Tony also.
We have a lot of...
We sure do.
friends.
Yeah, we do.
And Tony used to tell me that he very seldom ate dinner at home because he was always out at some professional meeting eating rubber chicken or what have you. But Tony built up a very nice reputation and a nice practice, and that's what you have to do. You have to make the sacrifice. Your family has to make the sacrifice also to allow you to become competent and be known. That's
networking.
Right. Networking is so important. I mean, I'm a CPA. I'm in the construction industry, but as far as technology and technical things, I'm very, very substandard on that, but I've become a pretty good networker. And that's what helped me all through my career.
Do you need construction-specific payroll services? Then you need Payroll for Construction, a complete payroll service designed to handle all the complexities of construction payroll, like certified payroll, union tracking, additional construction reporting, and more. You submit the time, Payroll for Construction does the rest.
Well, and as contractors, it's the same thing. I grew up in the construction industry too. And, I went to business school and I, took some accounting classes and, I understand debits and credits and math and, some of the tax things that go on. But I am not an expert in any of that stuff. I need to hire and partner with an expert. I don't have to become the expert. I'm good at building stuff.
Well, that's extremely important that you know people that are competent and you associate with them. I was always good at getting business. Now, when I was a CPA, whether I could complete the work or not, didn't matter. But I had other people who could do the work. But I was kind of a rainmaker and was able to bring in the work. And then, of course, like I say, it grew CPAC from 4 members to 75 when I left. And it's all networking. It's all knowing people, getting out and shaking hands and being around. Being around the industry is very important. So you become known. And like you said, we've known each other 20 years. You don't know how competent I am as the CPA, as technical. I'm pretty good at networking.
I don't, but like honey, but I love you too.
I love you. Thank you.
I don't know if you can help me with my CPA work or not, but I know you know some people that can. So,
well, that's great. Yeah, but like I said, it's important that your family buys in to what you do. Also, I've been married for 60 years to the same lady, and people ask me the question, "What's the best advice you ever got?" I said 2 of them was, if you get asked a question, don't try to dazzle people with BS, but show them if you don't have the brilliance, don't try to dazzle them with BS. And the second good advice was marry the girl.
Oh, so, nice. That's great. So John, why do you think that Foundation felt like it was important enough to actually hire a position to focus on this, not just with Chris Masteller also, but they got 2 people that are working on this all the time.
Exactly. Well, Fred Odie, who was the founder of Foundation, years ago told me that when he was first starting out, he realized that if he talked to a CPA who was competent in the construction industry and had construction clients, he could talk to maybe 10, 20, 40, 50 contractors at the same time when he's talking to the CPA firm, instead of calling on one contractor at a time, door to door.
Yeah.
And it worked well for him. I mean, look what he's built up here, or what Foundation has become. And that's extremely important as far as I'm concerned. Being with the CPAs, especially if you have a software for the construction industry, you want to, let's face it, it's the CPAs who go through your software, the output of your software, and do their financial statements at the end of the year. If you don't have a competent CPA working on your software, then it could be lost. But it's important that you have that relationship.
Yeah, and I've again been through the ringer on all this stuff too in business, and just getting an updated spreadsheet isn't necessarily enough. I mean, they need to understand your business. They need to know the workflow, why you do what you do,
exactly, what
challenges you're running into, so they can help advise you and keep you risk averse as much as possible, right?
Exactly. Like I say, if you have a CPA and you're his only construction client, you're not getting service. You're not getting the right service because that CPA does not know the surety companies.
Right.
He doesn't know the intricacies and the nuances of WIP.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep.
It's extremely important. I can't reiterate that enough. That's how important it was to have a CPA firm who has multiple construction clients. And the contractor does not have to worry, about trade secrets getting out because we have a code of ethics.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an attorney or anybody else in that professional industry, there's some professional legal responsibility, right, to make sure that they're keeping your private information private, but at the same time they can certainly discuss nuance with their peers on their team, and then also they've got multiple clients in construction. When one runs into a challenge, they can put the warning signs out to the other accounts that they're working with, the other companies.
And that's why groups like CPAC and the BDO Alliance and those are so important, because they understand that you can talk to your peers and trade information. Maybe not trade secrets, but you can trade information and help the competition be at the same level.
Right. Yeah, I do feel that Foundation's focus on that is for a wise purpose. It's not just, and it's not really even just marketing. It's another part of taking care of their customers
Exactly.
in a different way, right?
Yeah, I recently had experience where a foundation client who I met 2 years ago at our user group in Orlando, and was asking me about a CPA in his area. He was looking for someone to help him with a buyout of one of the partners. And I gave him a referral of a friend that I know out in the Orange County area. And I just saw Tyler again.
Hoppy, isn't it? Tyler Hoppy?
Yeah. See, another name we know.
Yeah, he's a customer of ours.
Okay.
And Foundation brought him to our booth as a vendor 2 years ago at the conference and said, this gentleman is a valued customer of ours, and he could use your help. And now he was here recording case studies, and he's great.
I met with Tyler and his father, Bob, in Orlando. Gave him the name of an individual who I trust. He's a CPA member, and I trust him. Tyler told me today that the buyout was very successful.
Oh, cool.
With Warren's assistance.
Wow.
And then they needed somebody to help Tyler, and Foundation was able to put him in touch with a young lady out in California. And I'll mention her name, Michelle Wilcox.
Okay.
Who's doing a great job for them. They're very pleased with her. So, that's where we come into play also. I mean, we know the CPAs, we know them in the area, and we know, especially if they're a Foundation customer, obviously. We're going to put them with people who know Foundation.
Establishing a powerful payroll tech stack just got easier thanks to Payroll for Construction, the construction-specific payroll service that seamlessly pairs with leading accounting software like Foundation, Sage, QuickBooks, and more. As you run payroll, automatically update your job costing and general ledger with labor data. Then, Payroll for Construction takes care of the payroll processing. Sync Payroll for Construction with your accounting software today.
You know what I love about that? None of that story has to do really directly with construction accounting, and look at the story and the result and the outcome for one of our valued customers.
It's an unbelievable network that's built up among the CPA community, the software companies. It's just a great relationship to work with them.
Yeah, the silver lining and all that is they're also great people. And, we're a part of we're blessed to be in such a great group of folks.
Outside of this industry, contractors sometimes have a pretty bad reputation.
It can get a bad rap.
They're talking, how crooked they are and everything else. You're not going to meet more honest people than contractors.
No.
I mean,
vast majority, no question about it.
I've worked for a contractor where we did work on a handshake, and we got paid, and all our subs got paid, and eventually there was a contractor, but it all started with a handshake, and we were in the ground before the contract was signed, and just very, very honest people. It's a misconception out in the public that contractors are crooks. I mean, all right, there might be one every now and then that kind of makes a sub go under because they don't pay the retention or something like that. It's far and few between, though. Yeah. Because I think the contractors, for the most part, are honest.
Yeah, and I think aside from just being a part of that culture where you're, have like businesses, maybe you're used to the same types of projects. When you're involved in, and it doesn't have to be the Foundation User Conference, when you're involved in your accounting packages, annual user conferences, hopefully they're having them, you have an opportunity to network and to compare notes. And some of the sessions that I've been in or one that I presented in, it was wonderful to watch people sharing best practices and learning what functions and features they're using and how they're approaching challenges, not just with our software or Foundation or whatever else, but just generally how they're solving problems. And, the competitive spirit was out the window, and it was just good people helping their neighbor. And I just love everything about that.
We mentioned earlier that I joined CFMA in 1985, and Next month, I'll be going to my 38th consecutive annual conference. I don't go there now for the educational part, although I'm sitting in on most of the sessions. I go there to network and talk to people. And CFMA also has something called the Connection Cafe, where people share information with their peers. And it is, again, I'll tell the contractor, if your CPA does not belong to CFMA, start looking for another one.
Yeah. Well, I've said this before, and I've heard a lot of other people say it. The Connection Cafe alone is worth the cost of admission.
Oh, without a doubt. That in the Building Profits magazine. It comes out every other month, and it has unbelievable articles that help the contractor's financial person along the job.
Yeah. Yeah, they are definitely digging deep, and CFMA's been friends to the podcast since we started it 4.5 years ago. We had Stuart Benstock on several times. What I love about that also, I know Stuart was passionate about suicide prevention, right? Mental health awareness, not just finances and tax and accounting and bonding and surety and all these other things that are critical, but those things. We've got Neil Shaw lined up to come on, and the new president of CFMA.
For people that are interested, you want to go to CFMA.org, check out the agenda for the conference next month. There's an awful lot of technical sessions that you can learn a lot. There's also some soft topics that are meaningful to the contractor. Like you mentioned, the suicide, Cal Beyer with the health.
Yeah, Cal's great.
Mental health. It's evolved from a pure financial presentation to an actual helping the contractor be a better businessman.
Well, and society's evolved, but also, and you mentioned be a better businessman, absolutely, but also even beyond, we're all people. You know, at the end of the day, we're all going home to our family. We've got, goals and dreams, and people want to go to Disneyland once in a while, or they want to go to Florida, or, on a cruise. We all have those needs, wants, and desires, and there is another side to our world, aside from the professional side, and I see and hear at CFMA, they're teaching and sharing and helping you find more balance, not just debits and credits, but more balance in life, right?
Right. And just to be politically correct, I said businessman, be a better contractor. I know there's an awful lot of women out there that are involved in this industry, and when I say businessman, I didn't mean it in a gender.
Yeah, well, and we need more professional women and more tradeswomen here too. I mean, there's a lot of room. We're short people. We need to recruit all that we can. There's plenty of capable women out there.
50% of the population is female, and only about 8 to 10% work in the construction industry. So there's something wrong with that equation.
Yeah, and CFMA's passionate about helping that too.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Well, John, it's been a lot of fun having you on. It's long overdue. I've appreciated networking with you here and over the years, and I look forward to continuing our friendship and again, serving these great people that we care so much about as well together.
Well, once again, Mike, I'm delighted to be invited, and I enjoyed this conversation, my friend.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Mobile Workforce Podcast by Foundation Software. To hear more episodes, visit us at workmax.com/Mobile Workforce Podcast, or subscribe to the Mobile Workforce Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. And if you like the show, be sure to leave a 5-star review, share with your colleagues, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Mobile Workforce Podcast.